Clayton here of Armchair Traveler. One of the premier organizations on the peninsula is the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy. They have some wonderful programs, and one of them is the preservation of a butterfly. I think you'll be intrigued by what we're about to see, so come with me as we explore some hidden areas of Palos Verdes and discover some really exciting things. And listen to this, we will even see the release of some butterflies. Wow! Now tell me exactly, where are we and what part of Palos Verdes are we in?
We're at the Lyndon H. Chandler Nature Preserve in Rolling Hills Estates. We're going to be touring the site a little bit and sharing some of the habitat restoration work that the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy has done here, and with a special focus on the endangered Palos Verdes blue butterfly. It's one of the most rare butterflies on the planet, and the Conservancy, in partnership with some of the folks we'll meet later on in the segment, have been in partnership to help bring the species back.
And their objective and yours is to save them.
Well, our broad objective is preservation of open space and access as such seen here in this nature preserve, and specifically with that species, yes, to recover the species so they're self-sustainable.
I'm standing next to a gentleman who looks right out of an Ansel Adams painting, a very distinguished gentleman. So tell our viewers who you are and what your title is.
I'm Jess Morton. I'm on the board of the Land Conservancy, and I'm also on the boards of the local Audubon Society and the National Audubon Society.
So that means you know all about the habitat here and things called butterflies. So tell our viewers exactly where we are and some of the things that they can see.
We're at the Chandler Preserve, which is one of the large preserves make up the open space on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. It's managed by the local Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy. And this particular spot that we are is intended for the habitat restoration for the Palos Verdes blue butterfly.
Saving the blue butterfly, is that really worthwhile? So the question is it worth saving, and if so, why?
Are any of us worth saving?
That's
That's
right.
a good question.
That's right.
The butterfly is a representative of a whole host of species that occupy this kind of habitat. The habitat itself is one that we've, as human beings, have occupied the vast majority in Southern California. And so perhaps we ask ourselves, is some of this worth saving?
So to see them, do you have to come down here?
Yes, one would have to come here. There are many species of blue butterflies, and some you will find in your own yard. However, the Palos Verdes blue butterfly is highly specialized, as many blue butterflies are, and requires a very specific kind of habitat. We don't know all of the answers about what exactly is required to keep these butterflies going in the wild.
How long is their whole life cycle complete from start to finish?
A little more than a year.
Wow.
And that's for most species of butterflies, for most insects, the lifespan is approximately a year.
Talk a little bit about some of the plants and the flowers that we see around us.
Well, for here, we can look and see the flowers. We have bush sunflower here, the aster-like broad round flowers, and then further up the hillside, the feathery light yellow mustard. The bush sunflower is a native species here, belongs with the sages and the deerweed and the astragalus, which is the other food plant for the Palos Verdes blue. The mustard that's up on the hillside there, along with a lot of the grasses that we see around us, are introduced species brought when ranching came into this area 250 years ago.
We're talking now with
Danielle Lefeur. I'm the Conservation Director for the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy.
We were talking just now about restoration, and I gather that you're the expert in that area. And I always think it's wonderful when mankind or people here do not sort of destroy everything. So talk to us a little bit about what restoration means and what it encompasses right here in Palos Verdes.
Well, this is a really exciting project because we've been able to restore habitat for a species that's really endangered, and that's what it's lacking is host plants. So what we've been doing is planting particularly the deerweed and the astragalus, also called locoweed, ocean locoweed, and those plants are then areas that the butterflies can be released to, and then they can start their life cycle in that area. And so we have about 28 acres over here that we've been able to restore in great part thanks to funding from different agencies, but also from our membership.
How do you know, you say restore, how do you know when an area needs to be restored? Do you go out in sort of groups periodically and sort of say, yes, this needs to be done over or whatever?
Well, what we look at is specifically the species that we want to restore habitat for. So in some cases, it might be the California gnatcatcher in this particular area. In this particular case, it was the Palos Verdes blue butterfly because we needed to find other areas to expand the population to. If you leave a population in one small area, it's very likely that over the long run something will happen and destroy that one population and we'll lose the whole species. So we wanted to find another location where historically we thought the host plant did exist, the butterfly might have existed here in the past, and it would stand a chance to develop a better population.
When you talk about restoration, I sort of have visions of people with wheelbarrows and trucks and sort of stuff on their backs with lots of, I don't know, plants and fauna and all that stuff. I mean, is that really what it is when you restore stuff? Tell me a little bit about what restoration is and what you bring in.
Well, we have a crew of about 8 people who come out at different times, and the first part of restoration is removing all of the weeds. There are a lot of invasive species that don't even allow the native plants to take over. So we remove all of those, and then we have plants that we've been growing in our nursery, and we collect the seed locally so that those plants are likely to do well in that particular area.
You really have to know, though, what plants. You can't just look at something and say, wow, that looks ugly. You really have to know. Yes. You have to know what you're going to take out.
That's right. So we have a list of the species that are historically not found in the area, and in particular the ones that tend to be very invasive, that if you don't remove them, they'll just keep spreading to other areas.
So for someone watching who says, I'd really like to help, is there a number they can call or a website they can go to?
Yes, they can give us a call or go to our website at www.pvplc.org. That's the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy.org.